Hello everybody, it's Jackie Shulkin, and this is the next video in my series about American government and civic participation. Now, in the last two videos, I talked about Congress, so in this video, since the series is supposed to be about civic participation more than anything, I'm going to do an overview of the Congress.gov website. So, first, I would like to show you the first step that I think you should take before getting into this website any further. And what you're going to do is go up here where it says sign in. Click on that little arrow, and if you don't have an account here yet, you're going to go here where it says create an account. Okay, and then you're just going to fill in your email, create a password, and click create an account. They'll send you an email to confirm, and then you are all set. Because this way you can not only look at everything on the website, but you could also set up alerts to your email and a bunch of other cool things. So I really recommend having an account. So that being said, here we are in the Congress.gov website. As you can see, I am logged into my account here. Okay, so this is basically the website. There are so many things here, so I'm not really sure where to begin. But if you're not sure where to begin, a good place to do that would be here where it says active legislation, Senate.gov. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to a new tab where basically it lists all of the bills that are currently active. So if you're not really sure where to start, you don't have an issue in mind, you're just curious or whatever, here is a pretty good place to begin. So if you are passionate about a certain issue, the best thing for you to do is find an organization that works with that issue and subscribe to their mailing list, because they will send you emails and tell you what bills are positive or what bills are negative, etc. And then here you could just look on your own. Okay, but that's what I do. For example, if you've seen my Google Plus or my YouTube or whatever, I work a lot with like animal rights. I'm very into that. So I'm subscribed to like Humane Society and stuff like that, and they literally tell you what bills to look at. So that being said, active legislation. And then, let's see, there's this thing called Congressional Record, where it's basically like a newspaper about everything Congress does. The only problem with this is it's very dense and it's like difficult to understand. It's not that interesting, so I don't really look at this personally, but it's there. Okay, members, committees, yeah, I'm gonna get back to that later. Legislative process, that's just some videos that they have on here which are interesting. I actually put those in the playlist that I created for this series. So, help, resources, this is really what's interesting, the House links and the Senate links. So, for example, there are these websites, House.gov, obviously the House, and then Senate.gov for the Senate. So the House, it has this really cool thing, floor activities. So if you open that, it'll tell you literally the activities of the House that were like being done. So you can really stay updated on what Congress is doing like right now or has been doing. For example, I think this is from Friday or from yesterday? From Friday. So yeah, you could look at this and then you could look at previous day and look what they did that day. So you could see what they're doing like right now. So that's really cool. And then the Senate has the same thing. So if you click here on the Senate floor, this one is from Thursday because it says here the Senate adjourned under its order today until 3 p.m. on Monday, February 29th. So you get the most recent stuff that's been happening. And again, you can stay updated about current legislative business and whatever else they are doing. Okay. Also, there's this thing here called votes, which we also have under House and under Senate. So if we go here, this is like, again, the most recent stuff. So, for example, this one, HR 2029, I have no idea what it's about, but just for the purpose of showing you guys how to see the vote, if you click here in the column roll, because what it is it's a roll call vote, so the votes are recorded. Okay, and here you could see yes, it's spelled yays. That's like a tradition thing. And nays, which is like no. So basically you can see how the legislators voted and whoever did not vote. So that's that. And then with the Senate, that link there. Okay, so same thing. In this column, vote tally. And then it tells the result as well. So for instance, it tells you here by alphabetical order how they voted. In this case, all we're seeing are yays because 0 nays. So yeah. So it depends on the bill itself. Okay. So if you become aware about a certain bill and you would like to look into it, here's what you would do. Now I'm going to use an example, which is S511. And as we shall see, this is the Genetically Engineered Food Right to Know Act. So I'm just using this as an example. By the way, I do support this, but that's not the point right now. So you click where it says S and the number. By the way, it says S here, so this corresponds to the Senate. So you have a summary, then you have the actual text, so you could read through it. I usually don't read through this stuff because it's dense and maybe difficult to understand, but this is like great primary source material where if you really want to know what's going on with the bill and really get into it, if you just like read the actual bill, that's pretty awesome. Actions. So it was introduced in the Senate, and we see here where it says latest action, read twice and referred to the Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. So it'll say what's the last thing that happened, and then here in the tracker it'll also show like where it is in the legislative process. Okay, so titles, it's just like titles. Amendments, hasn't had any. Okay, so co-sponsors. Now this one I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on because this is kind of important. Say you support this bill, or say you don't support this bill, you would probably be interested in knowing if your senators have co-sponsored or have not co-sponsored. So here you have the list, and then sometimes a bill has so many co-sponsors that it takes a very long time to read through the entire list and find your senator, because as you can see, this is not in order. Here we have Leahy, Sanders, Blumenthal, Feinstein, Booker's like down here, so it's clearly not alphabetical. It's by date, actually. Okay, so to make it easier, if you look at this like column thing, I guess, like this area on the left, and probably the easiest thing would be to look by state. So for instance, if you are from Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, and California, because we have one here and then the actual sponsor of the bill is also from California, you can see that both of your senators are supporting this bill. Now, for example, if you are from Rhode Island, if you click on Rhode Island, it will show you who has co-sponsored this bill. So, if you are aware of who your other senator is, you would know who has not co-sponsored. And then what you could do with that information is, if you do support the bill, you could write to that other senator and ask them to please co-sponsor. Clearly, you would not be writing to him because that would kind of be a waste of time to ask someone to co-sponsor when they already have. Or you could just write to him to say thank you if you wanted to. That's a nice thing to do as well. And then if your state is not listed here, for example, I don't know, Texas. If you're from Texas and you see, my state isn't here, that means that your senators have not co-sponsored this bill. Okay, so next we have committees. So, here's the deal with committees and why this is important. As we read earlier, here, it shows the committee here, right? So you could either look at it here or you could look at it here. Maybe there's more than one committee. Sometimes, in this case, there's only one committee. So this is useful because what you're going to do with this info is, this is a Senate bill, right? So you're going to go down here again where it says Senate links, and you're going to go to committees. So this is called Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. So you're going to go here and find that committee. Okay, so here it is. And then it's going to take you to a website which is specific to that committee. And then if you go to About, now every committee website is organized differently. Obviously they're not all the same, but basically you could find this information that I'm showing you. So basically you want to go to members, and then you have chairman, ranking member, majority, and minority. So basically all the members of it, and the chairman is probably like the most important member in the entire committee. So if you happen to be from Tennessee, you could write this senator and tell him your opinion about this bill. And that would probably be very, very important, because you could say, "Dear Senator Lamar Alexander, my name is blah, 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 and as your constituent, I am writing you about this bill S-511, which has been referred to the committee, which you are chairman of, and my opinion about this is blah, blah, blah." And committees are like the most important thing, or almost, they're very important in Congress. So if you are a constituent of the chairperson and you write to them and you tell them to take whatever action as chairperson, that's a big deal. Okay, so that's very useful information right there. And then we have finally related bills. Okay, so what happens is when there's a bill in one house, there's usually the same or a similar bill in the other house. And in this case, in fact, indeed, we do have an identical bill to this one, and it is called HR 913. So if you click on that, it'll take you to HR 913. Again, Congress.gov, and this is basically the same thing. It's just like in the House, but it's like the same thing. It has summary, text, actions, titles, doesn't have amendments. It has 51 co-sponsors. So this is where, for example, as I showed you guys earlier, instead of reading through this entire list, which is kind of long, I mean, there are longer ones where there's like 100 something co-sponsors. So if you just click on your state, for example, if you're from Connecticut, that's so much easier than if you had to read through the entire list and find the like the people that you're looking for. Okay. And then same thing here, committees. So it's in a subcommittee, and it's in a committee and in a subcommittee. Okay. So you would go to House links, because this is a House bill, and you would go to committees, and then again, you would go to the committee, House Energy and Commerce. Okay. So House Energy and Commerce is here. Energy and Commerce. Okay, and then, see, this website looks a little different, but basically if we go to About, okay, so members, yeah, so we have chairman, ranking member, okay, so ranking member is also pretty important. And then basically if you are a constituent of any one member of the committee, even if they're not the chairman or whatever, like, you could still write to them and tell them, as a member of this committee, please do blah blah blah. And that's pretty important. Okay, so here we have subcommittees, and this bill happens to be in a subcommittee, which is Subcommittee on Health. Cool, so you would go here, Subcommittee on Health, and then it gives you the more reduced list here. So, or this Might be a different list. I'm not sure, but yeah, basically the same thing. You could write, for example, if you're from Pennsylvania and you happen to be from District 16 in Pennsylvania, you could write to him, Joseph Pitts. Or if you're District 29 from Texas, you could write to Gene Green. Or if you're not from those areas, but maybe you're from District 7 New Jersey, you could write to Leonard Lance, or, you get the point. Like, you could write to any member and tell them, as a member of this subcommittee to which this such and such bill has been referred to, as your constituent, I'm asking you to please consider blah blah blah. And then that would be like very important, because as we've said, committees are pretty important in the legislative process. Okay, so what else do I want to show you guys? Oh, yeah, so in the beginning of the video, I talked about setting up an account, and now I'm going to show you why I talked about that. Okay, so I am logged in here, and I have not set an alert for this bill yet, but I would like to. So I will put here where it says right below the name of the bill, where it says Get Alerts. You click on that, and then it'll ask you, receive this alert by email. So you click Confirm. And if it has a related bill, it's a very good idea to go to the related bill and do the same thing. Get Alerts, Confirm, and there it is. And you can cancel alerts anytime you want. Okay. So, let's see. Let's go to Congress.gov again. And here, up here where it says legislation, I'm going to click there. And this shows you like the most recent stuff, like what's hot in Congress right now, pretty much. So I'm going to see, I want to show you guys something. So I'm going to see if there's anything that passed the House or the Senate here. Oh, actually this first one passed House. Okay, so let's click on this. What is this about? Oh, this is the SHARE Act, Sportsman's Heritage and Recreational Enhancement Act of 2015. So yes, let me take a moment here to say I do not support this bill, but since that's not the point, I'm going to continue to click here where it says Passed House. Okay, so it'll take us to a new tab, and here, Ayes and Noes. So same thing, and then not voting. And you could just look through this list. It's pretty much in alphabetical order, so yeah, it helps if you know who your elected officials are, and you could just look through this and see how they voted, or if they did not vote at all. You could see that. And it also breaks it down by a Republican, Democratic, Independent, etc., etc. Okay? So that's that. And then if the bill hasn't passed, most likely you could also see the votes. What else? Oh, I think another cool thing is if they are in session, they have like a video. So right now they're not in session, so I can't show you guys this. But yeah, if they are in session, you should be able to see like how they're in session and stuff like that. Okay, so I don't know what else I want to show you guys. What about treaty documents? Let's see what this is. Okay, so treaties. This is basically like bills, but it's not like laws that would apply in the US. Okay, so treaties basically. And then again, you could click on the treaty. This is a little slow, I apologize. Okay. So it says the title, when they received it from the president, and the latest Senate action. So in this case, it was referred to the Committee on Foreign Relations, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you could see the text. Resolution of ratification. Okay, so they haven't proposed it yet. And then you could see the actual text of the treaty. So, yeah, you could read through it if you are interested. So here it says Barack Obama because the person that takes care of treaties is the president, and then the Senate is supposed to, or like Congress is supposed to validate them, I guess. Okay, what else? Let's see. Guide to Law, Law Library of Congress. This is just like a bunch of resources if you're interested. Here we go. Leadership in the House, for example. So Speaker of the House, Majority Leader, Whip, Conference Chair, Minority Leader, Minority Whip, Assistant Minority Leader. So this is, I guess, useful information. And then same thing with the Senate. If you go to leadership, Vice President, which is Joe Biden, and then President pro tempore. So I think in the video about the Constitution, we said that the Vice President presides over the Senate and decides in the case of a tie. And then President pro tempore, which is mainly a ceremonial position. And then other leaders in here. So Mitch McConnell, pretty important person in the Senate right now. He's the majority leader. And then committee chair people, which is also useful. So, for instance, if you are a constituent of any of these people and you pay attention to what hits their committees, you could have like a greater impact by writing to them. Special select and other committees, joint committees, and some other stuff. Okay. Another thing I'd like to show you guys real quick is here where it says Senate hearings schedule. Let's go to that for a second. And it shows you what hearings are scheduled or what meetings are scheduled. And then you can also look at hearing transcripts for Supreme Court nominees here. There's not too much to see right here. Now, where you do have some more stuff to see is here under House links, hearings, where it says video, okay? So if we go to that, for example, if you click on a committee, any committee, okay, it says no live streams are currently available, but it does have hearings here that you could actually watch. So this one is 2 hours long, 2 hours 52 minutes. Okay, so these are pretty long, that's the problem, but they're like full videos about hearings. So if you're curious, or if you hear in the news or whatever that there's going to be a hearing in the House and you're interested, you know, you can come into this website and check it out. Finally, if you don't know who your elected officials are yet, that's very important to know. So you could find it out pretty easily. First, you would go to Senate.gov, and here where it says find your senators, you would select your state. So for instance, Oklahoma. Click go, and then these would be your senators. Next, you would go to House.gov, and you would look up here where it says find your representative. So I'm going to put in a random zip code for example purposes. Okay, I'm going to click go, and it tells you what district and state it is, and then it tells you who your representative is. That is all for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this has been really informative and that now you will be able to just log into Congress.gov and keep tabs on your elected officials, because remember, you and me, the voters, are the ones who hire and fire the elected officials. So it's important for us to stay tuned to what they're doing, and additionally, that we stay in touch with our elected officials, because if we don't, they have no idea what it is we want, and they might do stuff besides what we would like them to do. So this video on Congress.gov has been extremely important. I'm so glad I could do this for you guys. And please stay tuned to my next video in this series. Thanks for watching.